This is Carrie Steller within the Girls Corner. I am here with my friend Gabby, G Daddy Gulfin. Gabby, how are you today?
I'm all right. Yourself?
Very good. This is round two for us.
Round two, take two.
Yes, yes. Take two. So, all right, let's get back to everything. Gabby's an MMA fighter professionally. She's awesome. I've known you for quite a few years now, and your fight career has been great. I've seen you as an amateur and grow into a professional. With COVID and everything that's gone on in the last 2 years, I saw that you had some time off and then you had a couple fights and you just had a really big win for CES, which is amazing. So let's get into that and then we'll get into everything else.
Oh, for sure. Getting into on the scale of COVID, it was rough, like everyone will tell you, but there was a silver lining to it, and where I got a chance to self-reflect and reassess myself. Got to reassess who I had in my life too, and it was nice. I was coming off a 3-loss streak, and I had to break that because I was going through a lot of mental and personal issues. I'm kind of grateful for COVID because I found my ideal corner now, which I am elated about.
That's amazing. You had a fantastic fight. You won by split decision. I know you've got with different training partners and you had trained at different gyms when we first met. How was it transitioning? Did COVID play a part in that, or was it just something that you naturally needed to do?
It was a mix. Definitely COVID played a part in that. So it gave me a moment to kind of detach from all the gyms I was affiliated with, reassess what worked for me, what didn't, what kind of personalities worked with mine, which didn't. Realign myself with people who had the same morals and standards. And I found that. And one of my MMA coaches, Andrew Calandrelli, he's actually been my friend since 2015 at least. And he's one of the affiliates from Marcelo Garcia in Connecticut. And it's amazing that we reconnected in the way that we did. Because he even went, yeah, if you were working with your old coach, we would have had a problem. So it was meant to be.
I think everything does happen for a reason. And I mean, the last 2 years, a lot of people, it was very rough for, but there were a ton of silver linings, which has been really nice to hear them from a lot of people because of all the horror stories that you heard and, still going on. To hear that is really, really nice. And what was that like, training through everything and getting, a semblance of life back when we were, cut from it for a while?
Rough. You had to see which people were around that you could do your own little training regimens with. There were people where I was going to their apartments and they were putting down mats in their apartments.
What we were doing.
Or gyms that were open way out in the boondocks, going out there and under the closed gym thing, just rolling underneath and acting like, oh, this gym is shut down. There's nothing here.
Yeah.
So things like that. And you were out in Long Island. So how did you guys manage over there?
It was similar for a while. People were afraid to, open up their gym or to say that they were open even to a little extent, which was just a detriment to society. They should have opened up all gyms. And in that manner, when they weren't, we were just training in the backyard, on the beach, anywhere we could really. And then we ended up getting a studio, which was awesome because it's an essential building. So we were able to be open all the time anyway, which is great. And if they ever do anything again, it's still an essential building, so we can still be open. But it wasn't as bad, and it's still not as bad out here as it is in the city, as far as I guess regulations you want to call it, with the whole vaccine passports. They're not really doing that out here. They are and they're not. I know it has to. Certain jobs are. But it's not, I don't see as much masks out here. And people don't really wear them a lot out here. People are pretty open and free. It's very weird seeing the differences, because I was out in Queens the other day and seeing like everybody masked up. I was like, wow, this is so different.
It's not that bad. I think it depends where you go, because if you go into certain groups of people, they're masked down and it's really cool. I think it's pretty mixed right now in the city because there's such a mass amount of people in New York City, so you're not sure. So you have the people that are still fearful that something's going to happen, especially with the Delta variant out now.
Yeah.
And then you have other people where it's like, fuck it, if this thing hasn't killed me yet.
That's me. That's where I'm at. I was a drug addict for 13 years. And I laughed. I said, I mean, I not at other people, but for me, I'm like, if I didn't get taken out by all the stuff I did and everything that came along with it, not just the drugs and the drinking, everything, the accidents, you name it. I'm like, I'll be good on this. I was sleeping under pool tables for a long time. But I mean, apart from that, I have O positive blood. And in the beginning, they were talking about blood types that happen to do really well with it. And O positive people were some of the people that recovered extremely well from COVID. I might have had it at one point. My whole family tested positive. I didn't test at all for it. I just quarantined and assumed that I had it and did like the 12, 14 day thing, whatever it was last Christmas. So it, in that respect, for me, it's the immunity, which thank God, I think they have like the antibody thing, which is, they're saying that's supposed to be really good for you. So let's hope.
But you never know. It's kind of like with all these health nut cravings with the news. For example, let's take coffee. Coffee is good for you. No, coffee is bad for you.
Yes.
No, this will give you cancer. No, that will give you cancer.
I was
like
just saying that. I was just saying that to someone the other day. I'm like, things change dramatically, second to second, minute to minute. Eggs, parts of it are good, parts of it are bad. Now the whole thing's good for you. It's like they don't know. So yeah, things do dramatically change so often that it's like it's hard to keep up. I mean, at this point, I've said to people, if you're nervous, wear the mask. If you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. And people that want to, the world should change in the way that if people are sick and want to stay home, we should have some kind of adaptation for those people, because there are people that are immune compromised that could get sick from anything, that anything could get them really, in the hospital and dying. So it's like, why shouldn't we take care of those people as a society?
Yeah, everybody matters and counts.
If someone's sick, instead of, them going, well, I have to show up to work because I don't have any sick time, or, I don't have any personal time to take off. So now I got to go in and other people get sick. And this has been going on for years. That was one of my biggest complaints at work, was people come in sick and I don't want to get sick from them. So I used to get really, really mad at that. And it took me till this to realize it's a societal problem that we don't take care of each other. And that, we've been, I guess, indoctrinated in the work aspect that if you don't have time off and you don't have, personal time and sick time, that you do have to go in, and that's, people should just automatically get sick time for that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. It reminds me of, I'm not going to quote it perfectly, but I believe it was a Dalai Lama saying, where man works to make money and loses his health in the process, and then he spends that money to retain the health, and before you know it, he's dead.
I mean, that's no truer saying. And it's, if that doesn't show what's going on right now, and I think it would make people better people in general too, because you would want to take care of your fellow man, your neighbor, whatever, because that could be you one day, or it will be, everybody gets sick. So it's like, well, wouldn't you want somebody to take up for you and help you? When the whole thing started and things shut down, I went out and helped my friends that are elderly, and would go and get them food from the supermarket, because I wasn't afraid. So I was like, I'll just go and pick you guys up food. I don't mind. And I was shopping for myself. So I would, go and deliver food, and, I do hair on the side. So I would deliver color to people that were afraid to leave their house. So I adapted in those ways, and it felt good to do that.
Yeah, and you give people that sense of security where you're not afraid, and it's like, hey, I'm willing to put myself out there to serve other people. And who doesn't like their own personal hairstylist?
Right.
Yeah. That's a nice thing. That's a sweet gig, to be able to do hair in that personal way. And it's like, all right, what would you like today? How are we going to make this? Because a lot of times, even people that like going to the salons, and a salon has a cool vibe, there's still a thing of like, the person feels, well, I'm in an outside environment, and if I don't like it, but if they're in their own home, you come to them, it's like, this is my house.
It's true. And I've never had anybody complain. When I stopped working in salons, I got more clients doing it, going to people's houses or having them come to mine than I would have ever expected. I really had like this huge fear. And it was actually because of my bipolar that I ended up leaving the salons, because I just don't do well with being in that kind of environment where I have to work more, not make any more money, but like they want you to do more clients, and it's not like I'm getting any commission off of it, right? So I'm working and working and working and slaving myself in that respect, where I'm doing back-to-back people, and then my clients are suffering because I got to put them with the assistant to get their hair blown out, but they're paying all that money to come to me. So it's this whole rat race in a salon where you don't make that much money because you're constantly giving it to the owner, and they're not giving you any incentives to work any harder. So I just got really fed up. And plus I had my shoulder injuries. So it was a time for me to quit and leave the industry itself. But I still reading stuff all the time. I do classes online all the time. So anything that new that comes out, I learn about it. You have to, but I love doing it at home, especially for kids with special needs. They don't do salons and barbershops, so it's great to be able to do them in their own house.
I can understand that.
It's tough. I mean, you're told as a child not to talk to strangers, stay away from sharp things, don't touch this, don't do that. And then you have this stranger coming at you with this loud machine and these sharp scissors and this hot curling iron. And I could imagine why kids would be freaked out by it.
Right. Especially it's like, all right, they're telling me I have to sit down in this chair.
Yeah.
And the machine is like, what fresh hell is this?
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, like I could come to their house and they could sit either in front of the TV. I cut a kid's hair under the kitchen table once because he wanted to sit there. I was like, all right, this is what we're doing it.
That must have been an adventure.
It was. His mom was like, dude, she took pictures. Like, that's the cutest picture I've ever taken. Like, well, it doesn't bother me. If they want me to get on the floor, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me where I'm cutting it, as long as it comes out and they're fine, because it shouldn't be a traumatic experience. And, I have so many clients with kids that do have special needs. So I tell them, great things for them to do, put them in martial arts. And they're like, really? I'm like, oh yeah. The textures of the mats and, everything that's in there and the constant stimulation, it's not going to be a bad thing for them. And they're going to learn teamwork and, because there's a lot of things that I think with kids that have autism, special needs, and spectrum children, whatever, even kids with like bipolar and mental illness, which I do think a lot of them are in the same grouping, that maybe if things were looked at a little differently, people would flourish, right? So they when you're I guess when you're pregnant and somebody has it, gets told their kid's gonna have autism or be, whatever, and they give you choices. And it's, when you think about it, Einstein didn't he have Asperger's and he couldn't tie his shoes? So one of the most brilliant minds in the world could have been told, well, that might be a throwaway, and it's a harsh term to say it, but that's how they treat.
I get where you're coming from. And supposedly he failed the third grade and honestly with the most brilliant. Yeah.
I mean, some of the most amazing, talented people have been deaf, dumb, and blind. So it's like to say those people aren't worth being in society or are a problem because of that. I just kind of think if we nurtured those people and that might be a superpower. There might be a reason why we've been stuck like here instead of evolving in those respects. They really do. The way they treat kids and people in that way, there's so much better that we could do. And I mean, I literally can't enough tell people martial arts. I tell people it needs to be put into schools, especially now with the parents wanting to pull their kids out of schools.
Yeah,
a unique opportunity for fighters, MMA fighters, to start teaching gym classes and stuff, so to speak.
Yeah, you definitely need someone that's in the movement community to initiate, oh, this is a good thing and I can be happy doing this. And it's funny with the whole thing of rejecting certain people that are different, because society tries to get us to fit into this little box, and people that are weird, the freaks, the people that would be considered, I know, that would be considered.
We're those people, I'm sure.
Yeah, but who isn't?
Yeah.
Realistically, who isn't? The more sane and cute and nice and sweet someone is, and they seem so normal, you should have in the back of your brain, oh shit, I might have to run from this person, because that is the person that hides their bodies in their closet.
Let me tell you, those are the people that I always say, like, they freak me out. People that
Yes,
are too
rightfully.
nice, I'm like, you got bodies in the basement and you got plans for them.
Absolutely. And also doing the same thing because we are afraid to be different and we're afraid to be rejected.
Absolutely.
It's a totally human thing. It takes the people that are willing to challenge that are called crazy, undermined, delusional, to break the mold. Otherwise, it's not moving. Something different has to happen to shift things around. Otherwise, you're going to be repeating the same thing. And as defined as by Einstein, doing the same thing over and over again, especially if it doesn't work, is the definition of insanity. Yeah,
absolutely. And now I can say, just from processing everything you said, and it's funny because I love like really sitting back and hearing people, that it, to me, is the greatest what's the word I'm looking for? I can compare that to a fight. You know, it's constant movement, it's constant change. There's the way with MMA and the constant learning, and how things are evolving. Look at the game, how much it's evolved in the last 15, 20 years. You know, it's even from the first UFC, is the rules changing, all that stuff, the constant evolution of it. It is so much like life in that respect, you know what I mean? And where the craziness of it, that most people would say, well, you got to be pretty crazy to get in there. And well, you know what? Sometimes you got to be pretty crazy to like put your hands down and just go, I'm going to take it too. You know what I mean? So it's like, which is worse?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think honestly, you probably agree with me on this one. Everybody needs to get punched in the face at least once.
420%.
There are people out there, I kid you not, that honestly believe if they get punched in the face, they'll die.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's not that bad.
It's so sad.
Not that bad. Like I tell people, it's really getting punched in the face is really not the worst thing in the world. And if you get it done once, you'll find that really fast, and you might end up blocking the next time so it doesn't happen again. You know what I mean? And people are really afraid of that because they look at me, they're like, wait, you train jiu-jitsu, you do Muay Thai? I'm like, oh yeah, no, I started doing kickboxing when I was younger. And then recently, to get back into shape, I started training again. And, you know, people are like, but you're 42. I'm like, but it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
It takes me a little longer to recover, but who cares? I mean, that's like, it takes me a little longer to recover from going out for a night. Like, and I don't even drink. You know, but I don't feel 42.
That social stimulus too from going out.
Yeah. And I don't feel 42 from training. I don't feel it at all. Like when I'm there doing jujitsu, I don't feel, my body doesn't feel 42. I'm like, wow, actually the least pain I'm ever in is when I'm doing jujitsu, oddly enough.
Yeah. And jujitsu is known as the one where you get up and it's like, oh.
When I get up, I might be in a little pain, but while I'm doing it, like the hip pain that I have from just playing pool, I shoot pool 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes even from just walking on the floor, because I have hip tears from the accident I got in that I refuse to get fixed, especially after my shoulders not happening. I will walk through that pain for the rest of my life and just do other things to combat it. Playing pool sometimes is way worse than even training. Like lifting and conditioning myself has helped so much, but jujitsu, for some reason, maybe it's because, you know, rolling on the floor, I don't know, but I don't get the pain that I did. Once in a while, my shoulder, especially if, like, you know, you catch me in a triangle, my arm stretched the wrong way, but, you know, other than that, weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the fluidity, because you're constantly.
Yeah. And jiu-jitsu is just a physical puzzle.
I love it. I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. And it's so funny because, like, when we're training something, the other day we're training with my friend Grace, and she just started it like a month ago. And she's like, it seems like so many moves to get there. And I'm like, I know, because I remember when we first did that. I'm like, but the second you put it all together, it's almost not, it'll turn into like one fluid motion. And then when she got it, she was like, oh, I know what you mean.
Feel it too. And then you come up with your own way to get there.
Yes.
Depending on your body type, your style of movement, your reaction, and your jujitsu essentially becomes you. It takes on your personality.
Yeah.
Like, for example, mine's very aggressive. It's very aggressive. It's very constrictive.
You're
I
scrappy.
don't move fast, and then I'll automatically explode. So
Yeah. I
and
love it. And it's so funny because I'm so new to it. So it's like, I don't know what my style would be, but from what my coach says, I'm extremely scrappy. He was like, oh no, you'll love that movie. Very scrappy. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I can see you being a great scrambler.
Yeah. And I'm very my legs are very lengthy. So he's like, it's like, he's like, crap, you're like grappling an eel. He's like, he's like, it's so fun. He's like, you're hard to hold on to. Well, thanks, I'll try.
No, that's good to be squirmy, but squirmy efficiently.
Yes.
Because the flail squirmy one, and I know you know what I'm talking about.
Because if you can and you don't know how to efficiently do it, then you just end up in a worse position than you were in the first place, which that was
absolutely. And you're going to wind up hurting yourself.
Absolutely. It's so funny.
You need to go to with triangles.
They're probably my favorite right now because my legs are long and I could get them up really fast. So that's probably one of my favorite things to do at the moment.
Noted.
At the moment. Have you done any jujitsu competitions or anything since COVID? Because I know there was a lot of them before anything that kind of came back first.
I've done a couple.
Yeah.
What I started with, and then it's like, I need to get back into the cage because I love punching people. And call me a masochist, I do have a streak of it. I love somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing to try and kill me with their fists, their elbows and their knees. And there's just like such an excitement of being put in that danger that I'm like, yeah, bring it. And I missed that. I missed being happy to fight. This last fight was the first one where I was finally happy to fight. And I was missing that for so long. It's been almost a 3-year spiral of total shit. So
isn't that crazy how like when you are there and you have that happiness, but you lose it at some point and you get it back, it's like, oh, that's what it was. That's what was missing. That's what the thing, that kept me from, whatever, elevating, winning, anything. It could, because it's not just about winning. You can you're your own best critic. So every time you have a performance, you're always criticizing your performance, and which is good because you want to, see if you need improvements and where you need them and recognize it. But it's funny because, to watch you critical and even have a great performance, I'm like, stop being so critical. But I totally get it. And I mean,
somebody else, yeah,
and coming from an outside perspective, I'm like, well, stop, like you don't see it how we see it, but you see it from your internal. So, and that's good because
I fight like 50 million times this past one already, and I already know exactly which points that I've been trying to work on. If I can find an opponent for November 6th, what I want.
Well, I mean, there's so many. I know Bellator has something in November as well. I just heard that it's in Florida.
Oh, that might be hard because I am low on funds right now. So
road trip. We'll take a road trip.
Oh, that'd be cool. I'd be down.
We'll get you a road trip down there. I'll come with you. It'll be awesome. Now you had fought at 115 for a while. Now you're fighting at 125, correct? Right.
My whole pro career, all my fights have been at 125.
And how are you feeling fighting closer to your walk around weight? I'm hearing a lot of that more often than not now.
Much better. I would rather be the smaller fighter and be cognitively sound than go down to a lower weight and be a nutbag that can't get it together, having breakdowns in the corner, because we all know the fighter that from an intense weight cut, even if they win the fight, they're in the corner bawling like
yeah. Well, you want to get in there and enjoy it too. You don't want to get in there, like you said, and be a basket case the entire time. And as a female, it's got to be a lot easier, being close to your walk around. But guys don't understand. And I hate to say that and be like that, but I mean, no, I'm going to say that I'm going to be like that. They will never understand. There's nothing that they can do that they're going to understand that water weight, the not knowing. Period. Yeah. And the stress that you can literally be due for it and get it early because your body's stressed and you don't realize it. They don't know that struggle. They never will. Ever.
Oh yeah. The worst one till this day was Golden Glove finals as an amateur boxer. cutting weight to 112 and
Oof.
getting my period.
Oh,
Oh, that was pure misery. I literally, as I have severe psoriasis,
mm,
and does affect my joints. My body does not do well in heat, but I was so desperate that I was forcing myself to vomit. I was starving myself, and I went into a sauna. My coach was literally wrapping my hands, and they looked like they felt like, and they looked like they were rotting off the bone. The flesh was rotting off the bones.
wow.
It was really, he can tell you if you would ever talk to him about this day, it was chunks missing. And I just had to grin and bear it and get through the fight. I luckily won, but it was, I never really tell anyone about that because I don't want to seem like, oh, feel sorry for me, this and that.
Yeah.
No, did what I had to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was humiliating because it's like, I was hoping no official or anything would see it because it looked like leprosy.
Oh, wow.
Leprosy.
Wow. Well, yeah, because I could imagine, you're losing so much water, and you're losing so much nutrients. How could that not happen? Um, and people don't realize how tough that is, until they talk to a fighter and you hear about it, or until you're friends with a fighter, and, you see it. People don't realize how tough it actually is. And I have such a great deal of respect for you guys because that's, I've done fasting, and it's like, I can't imagine that.
Yeah, it sucks. And you're not in the best of moods, especially if you really weight cut it. You hate everybody.
Yeah.
You hate everybody and you're just quiet in the corner. And it's like, you see some people that they're more chatty when they're cutting weight because they're trying to keep in good spirits. I get it. But
Mm,
if you go in their head, it's
not the same.
no,
I feel like it does not translate.
no, does not translate to happiness. It's just misery on the highest level.
Yeah. I could imagine. I mean, again, I've done fasting, and that's hard in general. And that's what, 1, 2 days, I actually did 6 days once, but it was a cleanse fast. So like I was able to do this drink that you make. It's a lemonade. It's crazy, but it was tough. It was really, really tough. So I cannot imagine. I wanted to do my weight cut once, but I'm like, I can't right now afford to lose that weight. I just gained it back. If I lose that weight, I'm going to cry. Even for 5 seconds, I'll cry. But it's really, really tough. And, that's like, you hear people criticizing fighters all the time for that kind of stuff. And it's like, they don't know. People don't really have a clue.
Mhm.
They really don't. And oh gosh, I'll be watching a fight with my friends and they get mad over the referee's call. It's, well, that was an early stoppage. And I'm like, that fighter can fight another day. And, they're not going to walk out of there hurt. So I kind of like, no, not really.
You don't know because they could have throbbing in their head and they're not even telling you and they're just
Yeah.
trying to hide it, which happens a lot. Or
Oh,
they
yeah.
could not even realize what's going on and there's some bleeding inside of the skull or something like that.
Happens all the time. Look at what the guy who just passed away from bare knuckle fighting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was just over the weekend, and he died, what, 6 hours later from his injuries. I mean, that really happens, and people don't think it really does. And I said, that's a referee problem, in my personal opinion.
Mhm.
There are things that can be recognized where you got to then tune out the corner, tune out the fighter, tune out the fans, and say, this is my job, and his, or her safety is my number one concern. So for me, I would love to be a ref because I don't give a shit what people think. If I'm calling a fight, you're going to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just because of my respect for fighters.
Right.
Where I wouldn't give a shit what the corner thought. You fight me later on. We'll talk about it.
Mhm. Oh yeah, and the audience is loud, but it's just sound.
Yeah. It is, because you know what? They're not gonna come home with you at night and sleep next to you at night, where you actually have to sit with that decision and that lack of a decision. And we see that a lot. Even in professional fights, that happens a lot.
They're not going to be holding your hand in the hospital bed.
No. And then you get a fighter like Nick Diaz that calls his own fight and ends his own fight in the middle of it, which I respected that. And people were so mad. And I'm like, dude, he could fight again in a couple months instead of having to take another 9 months off.
Mhm.
Like, I would love to see Nick
Taking
Diaz
too much damage too, yeah.
What?
He was taking way too much damage also because
Yeah, there was no reason for him to continue. He would have gotten exponentially hurt, in my personal opinion, and would have had to take a lengthy amount of time off, where now he'll have to take less time off. I want to see that guy fight again. I don't want to see, I mean, what, it was 10 years since he fought the last time. So
I mean, he didn't look bad for that long layoff time.
Hmm.
For such a long layoff time, he really didn't look so bad.
He looked great for that long of layoff. I was blown away. And, again, I don't want to see him take so much time off. So I was glad that he stopped the fight. He was definitely taking a ton of time. But you know what? Till that, he looked really good.
Yeah.
He looked great physically. His boxing was, it was obviously, you could see it was a little slower than normal, but like he's a slow starter anyway. So I don't know. I was just so excited to see him back. And that was a great fight card in general.
Yeah, I can relate to being a slow starter because I tend to be a slow starter. So
A lot of fighters are. A lot of fighters are. And I feel like a lot of fighters need to take a hit or two and like kind of, get in that fight. I see that. And it's funny because I laugh when I'm like watching. I'm like, oh yeah, take a punch in the face or two. I would get me angry too. Let's go.
yeah. Yeah, it's that composure that's really the key. And even when you get hit, it's like not having a reaction, but saying, oh, I'm leaving that spot open. Damn.
Yeah. And correcting it and recognizing it and hearing your corner, because there are people that watch a fight and you can see they're not listening to their corner. It's so many things go into it, and at once. And even like this, you try, you want to get the fight. You want to be able to fight in either November, you would say December, right? Either one of those you would.
Right. I would love to have the two of them, honestly, but I will take it as it comes. I think I would have a better chance getting someone December 17th on CFFC's show from what I'm feeling, the vibe I'm getting. Because this show they already put out, we're having a hard time finding someone.
Yeah, whatever's meant to be, it'll end up happening for you. CFC, they're both great shows. CES,
they're both great.
They're both fantastic platforms.
But I'm here, I'm ready to fight. I have the momentum now because I know we did this on the first take where I have the go from my body and mind that I'm ready to get this done.
Yeah. Well, you might as well while you're on that up and you have the momentum behind you and the excitement, you might as well do it now.
Yeah. Because I know the time is going to come where it will take a couple of months and my body is going to give me the go ahead of, hey, I kind of need a minute.
Yeah.
And I'm also working on being a certified massage therapist in New York City. I also want to do Jersey. Also getting to be a licensed acupuncturist too. And then I want to go into holistic nursing.
Oh, that is awesome. And that is actually going to be sorely needed sooner than later. It's good people. That's a very, very smart thing to do because people don't realize, and we talked about this, that most of the stuff that you get is you're made sick and then you need to spend more money on getting better and medicines and all that stuff when a lot of stuff could be helped with natural stuff, acupuncture, natural medicines. I was actually going to say for your psoriasis, have you ever read about chaga mushrooms?
No, I have not.
Look them up. They are amazing. I started drinking chaga mushroom tea like 2 years ago. I don't really get sick. I did have, I don't know if it was psoriasis or eczema. I'm not really sure. I used to get it on the back of my leg and I always thought it was poison ivy that just like never went away. Wasn't. It was a patch of something. And then I started drinking the chaga tea. My cousin was like, you should drink it. It's a blood detoxifier. It's like, it's got so many good properties to it. I'm like, all right. So I read into it. I'm like, oh, well, it can't be bad, and I ended up getting like a really big patch of it on the top of my foot in between two of my toes, which was so uncomfortable. It was horrible.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, for 2 weeks. And my dad's like, you need to go see your doctor. Maybe it's from the drink. And I'm like, I'm really sure it's not, but I'll do that. Fine. So I go to my doctor and she's like, I don't know what chaga mushrooms are. I'm like, well, look them up. And she's like, how don't I know what these are? I'm like, no doctors know what they are. They're listed on Sloan Kettering as a tumor shrinker and an aid in cancer cure. But no doctors know about them because they can't make money off of it. So it pushed the eczema out of me and I haven't had it since.
I really have to take you up on that because I'm just coming out of a flare up that I had last week. It was really bad. It reached the pentacle to where if you had seen my face, chunks of it was coming off. and my ear looked like it was falling off of my head. The chunks were literally coming off. It was everywhere. I looked like I had leprosy or chicken pox. So you can still see some remnants of it here.
It's
Yeah,
tough. People don't know how hard that is to deal with.
it is. And it's hard when you're training and you really can't give anyone anything. It's genetic because both my parents have skin issues. So, you combine, then you
Yeah.
get.
Oh, well,
uh,
people do think that it's contagious, and that's such a,
it's hard
people,
when for everyone that you roll with, you have to give the speech where you cannot get this
yeah, yeah.
because do not, you haven't given me your genes. I haven't given you
Not
my
a
genes.
contagious disease.
Yeah.
It's a skin condition.
And most people are good, but with the thing of COVID and everything, you can't blame them.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand. I don't take it personally. It sucks because I do have the tendency with psoriatic arthritis and it
Mm.
does affect my joints when it can flare up. So I have to be so mindful of that.
There's another thing you should look into, hyaluronic acid. A lot of people, it's all over it's for skin. A lot of people get it topically. This is very good for your skin because it's a skin hydrator, but people don't realize it's also a joint lubricator if you ingest it.
Mm,
It is extremely good for you. I used to take it in a pill form, and then I found it in a liquid form. I think it was by a company, Neocell. I could be wrong on the name. I have it in my kitchen. And I take a shot of it a day. And I have really bad joints and stuff from my accidents that I was in. So everything that I do might be good for you. All the stuff that I've been taking because it works.
yeah. I'm very curious about the mushrooms because the
You're going to be blown away.
has been the past two fights. There's a flare up.
I'm telling you, even though it's a mushroom, they're antifungal, antimicrobial, antipathogen, antioxidant. Um, oh gosh, so many freaking things that they're considered an anti-ager as well because of all the properties that they have. They're full of minerals, full of vitamins. It's just like a miracle thing. Shocking what that can help you with.
Yeah.
I told them when the COVID hit, I'm like, everybody needs to be drinking chaga tea. It doesn't trip you out either. It's got no psilocybin in it, or whatever the other kind is. It's just a medicinal mushroom.
Right. Oh yeah, because especially I have other friends that are just trained jujitsu and they're competitors. They struggle with psoriasis or eczema, and when it gets on your scalp, man, it's really horrible, especially if you have dark hair. It's like the snow is falling and the snake is shedding.
It is, and it's especially for women. It's not just uncomfortable. Yes, it is, and people don't realize that. So I'm going to definitely send you as much information as I can. I get mine from it's Adirondack Chaga. It's ADK. It's upstate. I get it from them, and I get like 2 pounds for like $30.
It's not bad.
And it's a weird thing because they're really hard. And you boil them down in water, and then you like let them, I guess you simmer them and steep them for a couple hours, and then you dry them out, and you can reuse them like 3 times. So the amount of medicine that's in these things is just insane. So that 2 pounds will last you so long.
Cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I definitely want to take you up on that because my partner was even going, can you see a dermatologist? Can you? And I went, no, because I've been to a dermatologist since I was a little kid.
It does
I've
nothing.
had it since I was 3. It does nothing.
Yeah.
They're either going to do 3 things. Give you some tropical steroid cream.
Yep.
Inject you with some shit that's only going to work for a little bit and it's going to come back worse. Or 3, put you on an antibiotic. None of those things work.
Absolutely. And people don't realize that. No, you definitely, chaga mushrooms. I would be shocked if they didn't work, and it'll take a little while for it to get out of your system because it has to, detoxify your body. And then once it is, like, you're not going to get any flare-ups.
Yeah, I definitely want to take you up on that. And I
haven't had not one flare-up in 2 years, which is crazy.
That is nice. I would love that.
It's been really good. And like, I try to get everybody to drink it. Like everybody that I talk to, I'm like, chaga, chaga, you gotta drink this shit. I drink it all
Oh,
day long. I put it in my water. So I have like a shot of chaga in my water. And then I put a shot of frankincense water in there too, because that's really good for your stomach.
hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to educate myself more on gut health.
Frankincense water. Look
Mm.
that up. They drink that in a lot of countries, especially in the Middle East, and they don't get stomach cancers.
Hmm.
It's wild. I can't remember. God, it was like probably 5 years ago that I heard about that. And I don't remember exactly how, but I was dating a guy who had a really bad stomach. Maybe I was just researching a lot of stuff that would help him. And that's how I heard about it. But I've been drinking it ever since then. And I love it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take you up on that. Thank you.
It's all the homemade.
I'm always open to new.
Anything,
ideas.
right? Like that's the
Yeah.
thing is people don't realize whatever's going to help, even if it scares you at first. Like I was told I'll never be able to train again
Hmm.
2 years ago. The last time I saw my surgeon for my shoulders, he's like, you're not going to be able to do, training again. And I'm like, okay. And when my coach was like, you really should try starting to train something again because you need to be in shape. And I'm like, yeah, I was told I can't. He's like, they have to tell you that. He's like, your
Yeah.
doctor has to tell you that for liability purposes. I'm like, you
Mhm.
sure? And now I can like lift and shit. I couldn't, I was in such bad shape. And now I'm like, I feel like I did like when I was 30.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's this thing, they need to keep you in this little bubble of fear, not only to not get sued, but in a way where, no, you have to take this medication that's going to fuck you up more so we can make money.
Yep. It's so true. And that's
You
why more fighters,
people
you guys need to
right.
speak out.
Yeah.
You guys need to speak out because you guys know so much more than most people about, health in general. And getting over fears and all that stuff. That's you guys through this whole thing would be really good to talk to people because people don't get it. People don't realize that fighters are just, I tell people all the time, like fighters are, they're like everybody else. They're people. Like,
Yeah. Just like
just get punched in
insane
the face
in
more.
what they, well, you got to be a little gone to do it.
Yeah, you just get punched in the face more. That's all.
Yeah, that's it. And it's just like you deal with things where you're completely uncomfortable and it sucks. And there are moments where it's like, fuck, I'm tired. I don't want to be doing this right now.
Oh yeah, you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Very much so.
Oh
It's
yeah.
tiring. But I
Give it.
love that it's a merit-based system.
Yeah. Oh man, I love when you're in a flow with striking, especially jujitsu too, but that one's different where it's like dun 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 dun. It's cool. Because you don't have in that moment, you don't have that fear that I'm miscalculating and this person's going to punch me in the face. I can feel the intention of this person wants to knock my head off, but I want them to hit me because I want to be able to feel where they're leaving the openings.
It takes
Once in a while, I get movement-esque, but it doesn't last long.
well, it takes a lot, and it takes a lot to get there. A lot of pride. I mean, people think that like you become a fighter in 5 seconds, and it's like no, it takes a
I know.
lot of work and a lot of dedication. Even getting jujitsu, going from white belt to blue belt, people don't realize how much work it takes, and that's why people, I think, get into it, and you see a lot of people don't last. If that makes any
Mhm.
sense.
Give up.
Maybe it's a lack of work ethic or maybe just a lack of motivation because I couldn't be any more motivated. I'm like, give me another strap. I want to go up to a blue belt.
I feel you. I honestly have been purple belt since 2016.
Mm,
I've had it for a long time, and in that time, I have all my stripes too. So I've had all my stripes at least for almost 3 years at this point.
oh, wow.
It's hard because I originally came from Marcelo's, and during the pandemic, I shifted to Unity, and Unity is known to take a long time to promote.
That
And I
happened.
knew that switching, but I needed to do what was right for me in my career. Going back to the situation where, what did you have to reassess? I had to reassess what worked for me with my grappling, and Unity was the best fit. I will always be grateful to Marcelo's for what they taught me and being my base and my rock for years, but I needed to move on because I didn't feel the support, especially being an MMA fighter, working my ass off to get into the UFC. I didn't feel that. So I
Yeah.
needed that support, and Unity does not treat me differently because I can have more MMA energy, even
Mm,
though they are pure jujitsu, and I appreciate them for that.
that's
I
awesome.
also got offered my brown belt after this fight by Andrew, and I was so grateful, but I knew I made that commitment to transitioning to Unity. So
Mm,
I respected their decision, and I'm still purple belt. So yeah.
you'll get there.
Yeah.
You'll get there. Andrew's awesome. And it's funny because I love watching a fighter get a belt promotion after a fight. That like gets me so excited.
Yeah. It's hard because then you have the whole, I don't even want to call it politics. It's more your morals and how you perceive yourself. I don't know how else to say it, because of course I want my brown belt, but I really want to do it under the person that I chose to be my teacher with jujitsu. And Andrew is my teacher also, but in a different way.
Yeah.
He's the guide when I need to put everything together. Him and Zach, they're the ones that they glue everything together, and they're both excellent grapplers
Mm.
and strikers, and they both have their way of molding everything together, and putting the two of them in that same space with my strength and conditioning coach Alex, it's a perfect fit. That's why I love my corner.
That's
I love my
awesome.
corner. It's the first corner I've ever had too where everybody works together. Nobody tries to take the lead. You don't have to deal with the massive ego, the insecurity of, oh, this one is doing my job. This one's getting paid more than me. I'm not getting paid this. I'm not getting the attention. Nope, it's perfectly balanced. Everybody is set. Nobody complains. And if they have an issue or they're noticing something, they're going to say it right away. I don't have to worry about issues or disputes.
And that's huge. That's not what you need to be worrying about. You need to
Mhm.
be worrying about your fight and winning it.
Yeah, it took a long time to find them too.
Because it can be a lot of drama. And you don't need that. No fighter needs that.
Yeah, I've had to deal with the situation of a coach trying to dominate everything
Mm,
and undermine the others when they're there for a reason. They're not just there like for show.
yeah,
Yeah,
true.
everybody's important.
It's true. And now we were talking before, you had mentioned about the UFC. Very exciting. Can't imagine you not wanting to end up there, especially, the flyweight division is so
Oh,
stacked.
it's stacked, and more prospects are coming in, and it's so exciting. And I knocked myself back by having those 3 losses and to 2 that are now in the UFC.
Mm,
And in those fights, I mentally was not there. And that is my fault. And that's my fault in allowing to myself to think I'm not worthy of having the right people in my life.
mm,
And that takes time. You have to get knocked on your ass till you get it yet. You get
yeah,
it yet?
it's true. And you might have to get knocked down more than once and knocked on your ass to get it, you know.
Oh yeah. Like
And you
this
might get those rematches in the UFC with those girls.
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. If I keep on working my ass off, I would love to.
I mean, they could use more talent in any of their divisions, and that they're always signing new girls. I can't not see you ending up there or in Invicta and moving over to there, because both of them have they're both great promotions. Um, so it would be a good elevation for you, and actually that's actually would be perfect. Invicta is one of the organizations that you can fight in other ones. They don't care,
Yeah.
which is nice. They give you I think they get open contracts, right?
Yeah, they do from what I know.
They do. They got and Shannon's awesome. But I think it would be really, really great to see you in the UFC, in that beautiful octagon where you want to fight next in either November, December, January, because you're planning on possibly taking a little time off, or your body might want you to take a little time off before or after the new year.
Right. I'm sensing that time would be February because that's my birthday month and I'm turning 30. So I want to kind of get everything done. I'm also working to be certified with functional patterns, and I really want to understand their system. I appreciate it so much, especially they've gotten me out of the low back pain I was dealing with, because I was also a yoga teacher. And I'll be honest, it wasn't enough because I was still suffering from immense lower back pain. And working with FP for 6 months now, it's gone. It's
That's
not
amazing.
perfect, but it's gone in comparison. And I was dealing with lordosis too. So that from all the back bends, not good.
That's amazing though. And you're getting certified, which is even better.
Yeah, I'm on literally step one, which is going over the 10-week course till I really have an understanding of it. Because, you can watch the videos, but it's like, did you understand it?
Hmm.
I go back to certain parts and it's like, no.
But you know what? That's anything that's new is going to take you a little while to get it. But you seem like you're doing a lot of stuff, getting certified in a bunch of things. You're doing acupuncture.
Mhm.
Um,
Not yet. I have to go through the massage program first and then graduate that, get a certification for that, have the associates. Then it would be the acupuncture program, which is another, from what I've heard, 3 years. And then I would transition to the holistic nursing and get the bachelor's there.
and it's all through the same school
Yep.
because I know they have one of those similar, probably not with the nursing in Syosset, the new school of whatever, where they have the massage and the acupuncture and everything. It's like a
Right.
technical school for the people that do hair. You could go in there and do, hair or skincare and then end up doing, medical skincare and getting into the more medical end of it. That's actually what I might end up doing sooner or later, transitioning into medical skincare.
Nice. That would be a good fit for you because you already seem to have quite a assortment of knowledge, especially with the mushrooms. I
Yeah.
didn't know about them.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that most people, and again, it's just over the years of talking to other people. My cousin is, he was heavily into, or is into yoga. I don't know if he's very like high up in the teaching. I don't know how to explain it, but he goes to Costa Rica all the time.
Mm.
And he was the one that taught me about chaga mushrooms. He's taught me about so much stuff. But yeah, I think it would be a good transition. More so, honestly, for me than anything. I like am not the person that's ever going to go under the needle. And I know so many people in the industry that do. So for me, I'd rather do anything I can that's natural and not, fuck with surgeries and stuff. Cause that's
Yeah.
not the best thing to do.
No, it's not worth it. If you really don't have to go under the knife, please don't go over the knife.
Right?
Yeah,
People
because it
that do it
alters your
electively,
body.
I'm like, why?
Yeah. And there are some people that right away, I think I need surgery. It's like, wait, wait.
Oh yeah, that's like the last thing I want to do. Like I literally am like researching what I can do for my hips instead of surgery. And they do have a lot of weird treatments like stem cell treatments and plasma treatments. And there was a couple things that I saw that I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try that, like cold fusion things.
Right.
Um, anything at that point, I don't want to do surgery. I don't respond well to it. And I know that. And that's at the very least, I know how my body responds to surgeries. Not good. It takes a long time for me to recover and to get back into the shape that I was. So it's like, no, I don't want to do that.
You're putting your body through more trauma too.
Yeah. Because you get more scar tissue from the surgery than you had from the injury.
Mhm.
And then you
Yeah.
have to go, and some people have to get the scar tissue removed and it takes forever. It's just a racket. I agree with that. And acupuncture can help immensely with injuries, whereas you might not need a surgery.
Yeah. And understanding, I guess the best word for it, the anatomy of Eastern
Mm.
medicine is different from Western medicine. Like there are acupoints here where it's like large intestine 14, large intestine 11 here. So it's like, where is it?
Yeah, it's true. There's something to be said with Eastern medicine. A lot of people are so hung up on um, medicine over here. And I keep telling people a lot of it is just band-aids because it doesn't fix the problem ever. And there's a reason. You get like I watched a video the other day and they were saying about dogs that like lick themselves a lot or shake their heads a lot. And the doctor will give you like a topical ear thing or something for their skin, when in reality it could be a parasite or a bacteria. And if you give them the right probiotic, no problems anymore.
Hmm.
But we're so hung up on going to the vet and getting that, oh, nope, we got to get that medication. We got to get that topical. I mean, we got to do this. And I mean, there's a place for everything, but
Right.
there also might be another way to get rid of it and not just band-aid it and really get rid of the problem.
That's the thing that's interesting too. Western medicine and Eastern medicine are both extremes.
Yes.
And Naudi, the founder of Functional Patterns, has stated this as well. You need a mediator.
Hmm.
Something needs to meet in the middle because they're both extremes, and that's reflective of human beings. It's so easy to be an extremist.
Yes.
It's so easy. If you have no discipline, so easy.
Absolutely.
Balance and tuning into the boredom, as Functional Pattern says, is really fucking hard. But that's the stuff that's going to get you far. It's because it's not easy that it will be worthwhile.
Think the easy stuff is the stuff that is boring in that respect.
Yeah.
For me. You know, for me it is. It could get a little monotonous. The easy things, I like a challenge. I like working hard.
Right.
You know, I love learning. So I definitely, you know, can understand that. And yeah, I guess you got to get comfortable with it. You know, because there are times where you're gonna be bored. Not everything's gonna, like, you know, be exciting and fun. And, you know, you're not gonna, like you said, sometimes you're not gonna want to go, you know, go train or finish training, and you just gotta do it.
Oh yeah, there are days where I feel like hell, and it's like, no, you need to do this. But also there's a line of understanding the recovery pattern. And it's like, okay, do I need to take it back right now?
Yes.
And that's the tricky part too, because it's amazing to work so hard and to be disciplined in that way. But there's also a line of taking it too far where you overwork yourself and then you have burnout. And then you go through this whole spiral of like, oh my God,
It's true.
You're like a car that goes off the tracks and you're just swirling, and then it takes forever to get back on the tracks. So it's like, all right, close and turn.
Yeah.
Think of
And there's that extreme.
Driver.
There comes that extreme, right? Because it's like you get so wound up. It's so true. And you know, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about like the medical extremes. And I was like, you know, in a perfect world, we would have did you ever see Black Panther?
I saw pieces of Black Panther.
Okay. I guess the guy was in the CIA. I don't know if it was Topher, whatever his last name is, the actor. I'm not sure. Where he got shot in the back, and they took him to Wakanda and put him in like he woke up on like a weird board, but it was a bed, and like the thing changed shape and all this stuff, and he couldn't understand how the bullet wound was healed. And he said to the girl, he said, you know, this couldn't have been healed in hours. And she said, not by Western medicine. He said, what did you do? And science and medicine, or technology and medicine. So they both meet, and you could take those extremes and come in the middle. It was a way of not having to do surgeries and stuff like that with using knives. You could do it through pinpointing injuries or pinpointing a bullet wound, so to speak. And I don't understand the whole concept or the whole engineering behind it, but that's something that I think would be a good wave of the future.
The bottom line is efficiency.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. Well, it's like training and fighting too. You can look explosive and crazy sometimes, and I noticed in the beginning, it's usually male. You have these people that are explosive. They look so great in the beginning of the fight. They're fast starters. Oh my God, he came out. They either burn out because they deal with someone that's calm and calculated, and that's the worst for them. And it's like, you finish the guy faster, balls all over the place just to look fancy.
It's true. It's when you see them looking like a Tekken game, when they're like all over the place. It's so true. It's so true. And Gabby, we are running out a little bit of time. I wanted to ask you, is there anything you wanted to talk about that we didn't get out there about your fight that you want to get coming up in November or December? Thanking your training partners, coaches.
Oh, I will. It's definitely thanking my training partners and coaches. Definitely to my functional patterns practitioner / strength and conditioning coach, Alexander Lambert. You are amazing at what you fucking do. I love you, dude. And, you know, always appreciate you, always learning from you. My MMA coaches, Andrew Calandrelli in North Haven, Connecticut, and Zach Makovsky at Finishers MMA around Allentown, Pennsylvania. Always grateful for them and their input, their intelligence, their expertise. They give me real perspective. And it's like, you're leaning towards this tendency or that's a problem. And I really love it. Zach corrected 2 things for me yesterday that I never really assessed. And now I'm trying to wire that into my game. And I'm going, oh man, that would have made my life so much easier months ago. So yeah, and my training partners through all those gyms, including the other gyms that I work with, like obviously Unity, Seitan Muay Thai Gym in Astoria, Bucktown MMA in Newark, New Jersey. I'm always thankful for everybody I come in contact with, because I tend to be fortunate enough to deal with amazing people who are driven and passionate, and it just inspires me to be better.
That's amazing. That's more than half the battle. And we cannot wait to see you back in the cage and kicking ass. Where can people find you on social media?
I am ubiquitous. No, my Instagram is Gabby, Gabbee, G Daddy, GDADDY, and it's all together.
Amazing, amazing. I will be sending this to you, and I thank you so much for taking a second time of your evening on a Friday night to speak with me. And I look forward to seeing you at a fight soon. And if you want to take that road trip, you let me know.
Yeah, for sure. I will be expecting a hug in person because I am a hugger. So yeah.
Me too. People are like, wow, you love to hug. It's my favorite. I love emotion hugging is the best. I cannot wait to see you. It'll be so great. It'll be amazing. And I hope that you have a fantastic weekend.
Same. Thank you for having me again, Carrie.
No, thank you for taking the time of doing this again after the debacle of not being able to save the other one. And I will send you information on the chaga mushrooms.
Awesome. I look forward to trying them because anytime with Tweedledee over here.
Oh, and if you ever want to come train out here with John and I in Long Island, let me know.
Yeah, for sure. I have a couple of people that I have to visit in Long Island and mosey my ass over.
You are more than welcome to come train with us. I don't care about that. I know all about eczema and shit. You don't have to worry about me.
Awesome.
Awesome. Have a wonderful weekend, Gabby.
You too, Carrie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.